Welcome to another digital marketing lesson. Today we will talk about inbound marketing. I'll show you once for all the difference between inbound marketing and outbound marketing. I'll also show you some strategies to attract visitors and transform them into high qualified leads. Ultimately, I'll explain to you the evolution of inbound marketing into the inbound flywheel. As always, you can use the table of contents in the description below to skip and to jump among the sections and chapters of this video. So let's begin. Let's start with inbound marketing. This term was invented in 2005 by the CEO and co-founder of HubSpot, Brian Halligan, and then explained in a video interview in 2007 where he said that inbound marketing is a system built to attract potential buyers on a consistent basis by pulling the demand with relevant content and meaningful experiences. And basically HubSpot was founded upon this principle. Before 2005, people usually relied on sales rep to retrieve information about a service or a product. But then internet came and users and people started to research for information, content, knowledge, videos on internet. So the knowledge wasn't anymore exclusive of sales reps, because anyone with a computer and afterwards with a mobile phone could find information of any kind. The main objective of an inbound marketing strategy is to prepare a potential buyer for the sale. In this way, once the potential buyers raise their hands, sales reps can enter the conversation and make the sale. To do this, HubSpot developed the inbound methodology, which you can see in this picture. The inbound methodology is an inbound marketing process that converts visitors into customers and increases their retention. It is formed by 4 phases: attraction, conversion, closing, and delighting. Each phase, which corresponds to a buyer readiness stage, I will deepen it better later, you can activate certain marketing activities. For example, to attract visitors, you can start a blog with SEO, search engine optimization. You can publish content on social media, and then when people are aware of your product, you can convert them into leads with forms, call to action, landing page, and so on till the end of this chain of activities called inbound methodology. The main shift between what marketers were doing before 2005 and after 2005 is represented by consumers. In fact, in the inbound marketing, consumer is at the center of the strategy. Instead, before there was only an outbound marketing strategy. So the product, the company, the marketer was at the center of the strategy. And having the marketer at the center of a strategy means that you outreach with interruptive and disruptive advertising. In other words, outbound marketing is characterized by intrusive and interruptive forms of marketing like cold calls, cold emails, interruptive ads, and so on. Instead, inbound marketing has a customer-centric approach and aims at SEO, search engine optimization, blogging, and other forms of attraction. I use the present tense to describe outbound marketing because it is not dead. A best practice is to mix the two approaches, inbound marketing and outbound marketing, to enhance the effectiveness of a campaign. What it is dead, in my opinion, are some activities of outbound marketing. For example, sending out cold emails to raise awareness. This is spam, and you also can incur into legal consequences. Cold calling, the same thing. But if we talk about TV advertising, radio ads, Facebook ads, so in this case I say these are good outbound marketing activities that you can use to support a larger and broader inbound marketing strategy. The first step you need to do to craft a successful inbound marketing strategy is starting from a niche and a very specific target audience. You want to build this system to attract visitors on a consistent basis, but this system costs money, so you don't want to reach everyone because you will have more expenses. Instead, you want to reach only people, customers or potential buyers that are really interested in your product or service. To help you do this with actionable tools and resources, I have already wrote a huge guide about market segmentation, and I put the link in the description below. And I also prepared my buyer persona worksheet that you can use to build your elevator pitch in just 4 steps. And also this asset is linked in the description below. The second step to attract visitors is to create content. So according to a live stats research of 2020, there are more than 5.5 billion of searches on Google every day. It means that people are continuously seeking content, knowledge, services, entertainment, and they do it because they constantly have problems to solve. So the question that you need to ask is, can your company solve their problems? If you can, you should try to communicate with this audience. But if you can't, you shouldn't waste money trying to engage with them. So okay, we have understood that we need a target audience, we need to communicate only to that audience. So what kind of content do we create? Before reaching this part, you need to understand the role of consumer in the purchasing process. Let's make an example. If you are a company that creates video games for children, you want children to purchase the video games, but they actually don't have access to the money. And who can buy an application or a video game to a child is their parents, of course. So when you market this kind of application, would you market the children or would you market the parents? So an answer can be to market the children and leverage them into squeezing money out of the parents. In this specific case, you have children that represent users, but you have the parents that represent the actual buyers. Understanding roles of consumers in a purchasing process is fundamental. Even if buyers are the ones who actually pay for your products or services, it doesn't mean you should always target them with your inbound marketing strategy. Another key factor that you need to know before creating a piece of content is to understand the degree of buyer readiness. In other words, you want to know where your prospect is in the decision-making process. Are they unaware, aware, informed, interested, willing to buy, or did they have already purchased? And the importance of this element is crucial because each stage requires a personalized type of content. For example, if a user is unaware of your brand and they visit for the first time your website, they maybe want to find more information, more informative content. They want to learn more about your company. But if these visitors already know your brand, they go to your website not to learn more about who you are, what you sell and so on, but maybe because they want to actually purchase one of your services or products, or they want to schedule an appointment with you. So you understand that each stage requires a degree of personalization for content. It is very difficult to create a piece of content where you raise awareness, desire, willingness to buy all together. Buyer's readiness also affects the communication channel for your content. And for each phase, you may have different platforms where you want to publish a certain type of content. For example, you can raise awareness with an influencer marketing campaign. Let's say that you are selling utensils. The influencer will not say, hey, these are the utensils of brand X, go and buy them. This influencer maybe will cook a dish by using your utensils, and in the middle of the video, blended in the context, will say that will mention your brand, the brand of the utensils that this influencer is using. So you understand that this is a not intrusive approach. Another example of a communication channel can be a blog, a company's blog. In this case, users are already aware of their problem. They are actively seeking a solution, and you can attract them from from search engines using keywords. In this way, users will find your blog post, they will land on your pages, and through call to action, the different call to actions, you can guide them through your website till you convert them in leads or maybe also in customers. Just to recap all of these concepts together, I prepare a little bullet points. If your prospect is in the awareness stage, it means they have a problem they want to solve but haven't decided upon a solution or searched for a possible vendor. The marketing team should keep nurturing these prospects till they move forward in the buyer journey. Sales reps shouldn't pitch them. If your prospect is in the consideration stage, it means they are aware of the problem and are willing to spend time and effort to find a possible solution. They are actively seeking content that helps them understand what it takes in terms of commitment to achieve a resolution. If your prospect is in the decision stage, it means they have truly researched their problem and potential solutions. They are selecting vendors, so this is the time for the sales rep to step in. We have already said that blogging is a strategy that allows you to attract users and traffic from search engines to your website. But do you really need a blog? According to World Meters, 7.5 million blog posts are published every day in 2020, and according to another research of Backlinko in 2019, only 7% of users click on the second page of the search results. While in the pre-internet era, you were competing for space. Now you are competing for the attention. Attention is the most valuable asset for marketers. And the challenge of content marketing is to create value for potential buyers and attract their attention by outclassing other content creators. Just think about the pre-internet era. If you wanted to promote your service or product, the only way to reach your audience was publishing, let's say, an advertorial on a magazine, and a magazine has a limited number of pages. But right now with internet, real estate is not a problem anymore, because online you can publish whatever you want. The key element is the attention of consumers or users, because people are awake for a limited amount of time and constantly they have to decide where to spend their minutes, their hours. So if I watch your video or I read your content, I can't use that time to do another activity. Another important factor that you need to consider before even you think to start a blog is the long-term results. According to a study conducted by Hrefs in 2020, it takes at least 650 days to rank in the top 10 positions of the search engine result page. In the same study, Hrefs shows that it is actually possible to rank in the top 10 of the SERP in less than a year, but the percentage of success is low. So of course, if you publish a piece of content, your probability to be placed in the first page of Google will depend on many different factors, but it is very difficult to succeed. And if you don't drive ROI for your SEO, in this case blogging efforts, at the end of the day you will run out of cash. Here is my list with the most important 6 factors that you need to consider before you start a blog. I will mention some tools that you can use. You find the link of these tools in the description below. Pick a niche with low competition but high traffic potential. If your blog doesn't get traffic, it is impossible to monetize in the future. In this phase, use these 3 tools. Google Trends to compare trends between keywords, Exploding Topics to see trends between topics, and Uber Suggest to see the competition and traffic potential of each keyword. Prepare to invest a lot of money in good content creators, copywriters, designers, and so on, capable of publishing something unique, extensive, at least 3,000 words, and optimized for search engines. If you still think that with 500 words and a cheap professional found on Fiverr you can actually reach the first page on Google, inbound marketing is not for you. Prepare to invest in web design to get a high-performing user experience. If your content is good, but the user experience sucks, visitors bounce back and your blogging efforts are useless. To optimize your user experience, use this freemium tool, Hotjar. With heat maps, recordings, and many other features, it allows you to improve the efficiency of your design. Prepare to invest in on-page and off-page SEO activities. I will deepen SEO in another video. If you want more info about it, just drop a comment below, or you can always schedule a consultancy with me. It is useless to use intrusive advertising campaigns to promote your blog post, for example with Google Ads or Facebook Ads. Focus on SEO and user intent instead. Expect results after 6 or 12 months. After this, your question would be, Alberto, if you are saying that probably blogging is not for me, what can I do? So here you have an alternative. The alternative of blogging is to exploit already established blogs or community to promote your services or products. There are 2 ways to get published by other platforms. You can use what it is called guest blogging or guest posting. So you just need to invest in content creation, but you don't need the digital infrastructure behind a blog. So you create a piece of content and you contact different publishers and you say, hey, this is a valuable piece of content for your platform. Why don't you publish it? And many blogs, many platforms, they are continuously seeking fresh and good quality content, so they may start a free partnership with you. In this way, you will get published in a third-party platforms which has already an audience, which already drives traffic, and you don't have to invest in designers, developers, and digital infrastructure. If you see that your guest blogging efforts are not producing results, you can just cut the budget and that's it. But think, if you had a blog, I mean, you have a lot of costs that you can't cut. Another strategy is to engage with very popular publishers like Business Insiders or Forbes, and they will ask for money, so you will have to pay to get a partnership. So in this way, your products or services will be promoted on their platforms. A partnership like this costs a lot of money, but is it less expensive than blogging? My answer is it depends. It depends on when you want to have results. If you need results fast, guest blogging or paying for this kind of partnerships is the best solution. If you are aiming at the long run, maybe blogging is for you. But always consider also the competition. If your industry is super competitive, maybe you should invest in partnerships instead than creating your own blog. In addition, you have to consider that all these activities, these partnerships, guest blogging, they are part of what it is called off-page SEO activities. So if you build a blog, if you have a blog, you should do all of these activities anyway. So actually, managing a blog is really expensive if you do it properly. Now let's talk about the second myth of entrepreneurs and businesses: social media marketing. What it takes to do it right. According to a 2018 global research of HubSpot, 74% of marketers invest in social media marketing. It means that social media is a channel that drives ROI, return on investment. But if you are a small business, you have a limited budget, and we said that according to the inbound marketing strategy, you should aim at your niche, at your target audience. So how can you optimize your budget spending, and what social media platform do you use? What I really suggest to my clients that have a limited budget, and a limited budget I mean that they don't have like hundreds of $1,000s per year to spend, I recommend them to focus on just one or two social media platforms. And there is no way that some research or a document tells you what social media platforms you should choose. What you need to do is, if you are at the beginning, I would start multiple social media platforms and see where I have the best traction, and then I will cut the channels with the low amount of traction, and I will keep just one platform or two platforms where I have the majority of my results. So the only way to understand what best fits your organization is to test and try by yourself. There is no other way, no statistics. Can you narrow the choice among the many different social media platforms? Yes, of course, and it is related, the solution is related to the target audience. For example, if you are targeting millennials, maybe Facebook, LinkedIn and Twitter are the best social media for you. But if you are trying to market at Generation Z, Facebook is not used anymore, so you maybe need to use Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. As I always say, it's better to be Batman in one single platform rather than Captain Underpants in all of them. Another common question from entrepreneurs that want to start a social media channel is: how many posts per day should I publish? When should I publish? And for me, these questions don't have any sense. So first of all, you have to publish something only when you have something relevant to say. If you don't have anything to say, you don't have to find out content or just publish self-promoting content about your products or about your services, because remember that social media is a communication, a direct communication channel, a two-way communication channel with your target audience. So potential buyers and customers should be the subject, not your company. In addition, there isn't a perfect timing to post, because once you build a relationship with your audience, that you publish in the morning or you publish in the evening, it doesn't matter, because once you have an engaged audience, they will seek your content, they will search for it, they will contact you. Hey, why you are not publishing more content? So it really doesn't matter if you publish in the morning or at 1 p.m. or at 1.5 p.m. or whenever you want. Of course, for certain kind of social media, for example YouTube, if you are able to keep a routine is better. So if you decide to publish every week, every Tuesday, you can create a routine also for your customers. But in general, you don't need to be so focused on the timing and the amount of posts that you publish. Another recommendation that I can give you is that social media is a paid media for business. You can't pretend that you just send out some content and the network will do its work. No, you have to create good content and invest in advertising. You have to sponsor your content, because if you want to do business, the organic reach for businesses, for business pages, is decreasing year over year. Now I want to share with you the process that I use to create content on social media, and also here I will mention some tools that I usually use, and I've inserted their links in the description below. As you can see from this image, the first step is to craft the editorial plan and share it with your social media team by using Google Sheets. I always suggest creating a 2 or 3 month plan. Produce your content, images, videos, text, links. Use Hootsuite to schedule your content and distribute it across your social media channels. Sponsor the most relevant content with paid ads. You may want to attain more engagement, generate leads, drive traffic to your website, and much more. Keep track of your performance and analyze deeply the results of your efforts at the end of every editorial plan cycle. Usually, each social media platform has its own analytics. I recommend Google Data Studio to create a dashboard with relevant KPIs from all the different social media platforms used. You will have all of your data gathered together in a single dashboard that updates in real time. You will never need to create annoying reports or switch from one analytics to another. Do the math, improve or pivot your content strategy, and repeat this list from number 1. Social media marketing is not only useful to attract new visitors, but also to convert them from one stage of buyer's awareness to another. To help you doing this, I've inserted in the description below the link to my free content mapping template that you can download for free. Now let's see the evolution of inbound marketing, because from 2018, Brian Halligan has launched the Inbound Flywheel. So let's see what it is, and let's compare it with the typical marketing funnel, which is the marketing system that characterizes the inbound methodology that we saw before. Basically, while a marketing funnel pictures customers as an afterthought, inbound marketing puts customers in the center. In fact, it is a customer-centric approach. In Inbound 2018 keynote, Brian Halligan highlighted another drop of trust, but this time the trust has dropped regarding the marketers. So basically from 2018, people don't believe sales reps, don't believe marketers, so how do they make purchasing decisions? According to the 2020 Edelman Trust Barometer, the third most credible category of people is represented by our peers, friends, colleagues, relatives, partners, and so on. It means that from 2018, purchasing decisions are made by word of mouth. And the Inbound Flywheel tries to represent exactly how a company should behave to raise and boost the word of mouth. Based on this approach, the only way to boost the word of mouth is thanks to a amazing customer experience. Let's see how to use the Inbound Flywheel as a growth marketing tool. The big 3 points of friction in a flywheel are at the entry point, so you should offer a free trial or product service demonstration and activate a delightful onboarding process. People have to trust your ability to solve their problems. In other words, you have to provide value before you extract value. What about the engagement stage? Help your customers connect with you faster through different communication channels. You can use bots and conversational marketing to create scalable one-to-one conversations. In other words, make it easy to shop and buy. The third point of friction is represented by the sales point. Keep educating your customers with actionable resources and content. Offer them amazing customer service, perks, and guarantees. Basically, the super weapon here is to decrease the friction. To do so, you need to decrease human interaction as much as possible. To do this, you can use artificial intelligence, bots, or self-service solutions. Another super powerful tool that you can use to decrease the friction is crafting a service blueprint, and I've inserted in the description below my article where I explain you everything you need to know how to optimize your internal processes and to identify bottlenecks. If you want to learn more about this inbound flywheel, you can view a workshop that I have prepared in the article related to this video. So just click the link in the description below and scroll down. At the end of the article there is a very actionable workshop that you can do on this topic. Before ending this video, I wanted to give you a bonus. I wanted to show you an example of marketing funnel, because while the future is the flywheel, the inbound flywheel, marketing funnels represent a great window of opportunities. This image represents a very basic digital marketing funnel example, which starts from a squeeze page, which can be a web page or a lead generation form. For example, if you are using lead generation campaigns with Facebook ads, and the only objective of a squeeze page is to offer value to exchange with prospects information, preferences, contact details, and so on. Once prospects have become leads by submitting their data through the squeeze page, they are nurtured and educated on a certain product or service. You should use automated workflows according to the prospect's preferred communication channel. For example, if they prefer emails, you can use tools like MailChimp to create an email marketing workflow. Or if they prefer social media chats or SMS, you can use bots like ManyChat. When prospects are ready to make a purchase decision, you funnel them into a sales page. There is no limit of iteration before sending them to a sales page. You just need to nurture them enough in order for them to be ready to actually purchase. So they need to be ready when they land on a sales page, otherwise you will miss a sales opportunity. When leads click the call to action on the sales page, they land on the checkout page. When the payment is processed, they land on a final page called the thank you page. You can use this final page for cross-selling, upselling, or encouraging buyers to subscribe to a different workflow. This is it. If you want to introduce the inbound marketing flywheel in your organization, or if you need help to craft a inbound marketing funnel, you can schedule a consultancy with me with the link in the description below. I'm really curious to know what you think about this new flywheel, inbound flywheel. Do you think to introduce it into your organization? Let me know your opinion in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Every week I come up with a digital marketing lesson, so subscribe to this channel in order not to miss any updates, and see you soon.